will to prepare. And there's a whole bunch of folks that I know who say, I want to win. And some of those folks live 30 minutes from this event, but refuse to come here to prepare how to win. Inevitably, they'll say, LegalShield didn't work out for me. I tried something like that. And they didn't. They joined. They didn't participate. That's like the person who says, I want to run the marathon, but they don't prepare for the marathon. That's like the person who says, hey, look, I want to do better in life, but they don't prepare to do better in life. So I happen to know, only because of all the mistakes that I've made and how many big events I've been to since I've been at LegalShield, what happens when the average person leaves out of this event. Because you feel so good being in this environment where it feels so supportive. It feels like, man, I can do this. But if I don't help condition your mind to help you to gain some mental stamina, what you experience here today lasts for one day. And in some cases, tonight, depending on who you talk to this evening when you call home.
All right.
So let's talk real quickly about preparing your mindset, because my job tonight and my task is to make sure that all of us coming out of here end up at the super regionals and then end up in New Orleans. So my job is to help us to break the stat or the norm that's existed in our industry. Normally in our industry, about 50% of the folks who make it to one event don't make it to the next. However, I believe if you get the right people together, you can actually break some records. You can do more with 20% than you can with the 80%. If you have the right 22 people on the field, on the football field, you can actually do better than the wrong 22,000 people who are in the stands complaining.
Yeah.
So let's help prepare us for this big win. So we see that there's different type of people who prepare or sometimes don't. Some come prepared. That was me. So don't compare yourself. I actually came to LegalShield somewhat prepared. I was prepared because my first company in the direct sales industry was with water filtration and nutritional products. It cost $5,000 to join that company. So when I got to LegalShield, they said it was $249. So I'm like, hold up, it's only $249? And I hear some of my colleagues complain about the $49. They're like, no, it is $49. I'm like, I think you gotta pay. I gotta pay. Then it's $24.95. You gotta pay every month. And I want us to be unapologetic about starting a business where someone has the potential to have unlimited income, residual income, for $49. So then I had to go to an in-person training, equivalent to the Fast Start training. And the first training there was called Basics. You went to, they called it the Basics. And it was $300 to go to the Basics. So then I hear people saying, so hold on, so I gotta go to an in-person Fast Start training? It's traffic in my area. This is the same person that wakes up at 5 in the morning, that spends an hour in traffic to get to a 9-to-5 job, and an hour back home to pick their kids up from the aftercare. That's 2 hours of commute times 5 days a week is 10 hours for a limited income. For a determined income. And I know, I'm not judging. If you love your job, you should continue to do it. But don't complain about it and still do it and not be willing to do something to make it better. This is the thinking. I had to shift my thinking, guys. And I want us to shift our thinking because I feel like we're justifying LegalShield. And we're justifying in-person events. Well, people don't want to go to in-person events. They should if they're unhappy with their current situation. Some folks are like, well, listen, I like knowing what my check is going to be. I don't like knowing what my check is going to be every 2 weeks at my job. I didn't like that because that meant that I already gave someone else permission to know who they think I was going to be 2 weeks from now. I'm better than I was 2 weeks before. So you can't pay me what you paid me the last 2 weeks because I'm more valuable this week. And if I'm more valuable, I should be paid more. So I came prepared. I came prepared because I'd read the books. I came prepared. No one had to convince me to come to my first international convention. I was just trying to figure out how to make it to my first international convention. No one has ever asked me since I've been to LegalShield, not one time, are you going to the international convention? Not one time. No one's ever said, are you going? Because I came prepared. This is why I don't want you to judge me or judge yourself compared to me. Because I already came prepared. I already knew the power of big events. I didn't make any money in those other companies, but my mind was prepared in those other companies. By the way, it's actually not a good thing if someone says, are you going to New Orleans? If they ask you, that means there's some uncertainty about you. So put yourself, and look, I'm not beating up on you, but I am. Because if I was new, if I was the least in the room, I wouldn't want someone to sugarcoat it with me. It hurts too much right now. This is how I felt. Like I'm in pain right now. So I need you to tell me like it is. Even if I'm upset, Mr. Stone Cypher used to always tell me, don't get mad at your money, Darnell. Look, economics and emotions should not be sleeping in bunk beds. They should not be sleeping even in the same room. Forget the bunk beds. Some of us get so upset about things, but we're getting mad at our money. So I came prepared, guys, that's all I'm saying. I still want you to compare. I didn't make a whole lot of money right away in LegalShield. And even when I did, it felt like I wasn't because I was so far in debt, I was paying everyone back that I owed. But I came prepared mentally. Everybody with me? Some folks didn't even know to prepare. They're like, man, if I knew LegalShield was going to come in my life, maybe I would have taken a communication class. Maybe I would have taken some skill classes that teach me about leadership and relationships. But they didn't even know to prepare. You didn't even realize you were going to be in LegalShield. Some of you, a month ago, you had no idea you'd be in Baltimore. So don't give yourself some grace. Then you have some folks who are like, I'm getting prepared. Listen, I went against a whole bunch of obstacles to get here, but I'm here. And I salute you. I applaud you. I celebrate you. Listen, I know what it's like to sit in the audience, and it's hard to even focus, not because the speakers weren't good, but because I had so much turmoil. So many things the enemy was whispering in my ear while the speaker was speaking good stuff. The enemy tries to remind you of who you used to be. So I get it, but you're here, and I'm glad you got some of it. And then you have the person who's deciding not to prepare. You know that person. That's the person who you did your best to tell them they should be here. And they gave you some lame excuse. And what they're telling you is that it's not my season. But what we do is we continue to try to work with the person as if we're going to make it their season. So I want you to learn from my mistakes. I realized that it's not about me creating the winning season for them. It's about me finding someone who's ready for the season to build LegalShield. No more fixing, guys, just finding. So my daughter, Milan, when Tracy and I went to Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, she took us to a sip and paint. And that means you sip a little bit, and it could be non-alcoholic. Tracy's wasn't. I'm gonna say, she has to have her glass of wine. And it's good for me because it allows her to relax so she's not like, so when are we going? And you fill in the blank. If she has her wine, she's okay, get it home. So we had our sip and paint. And with the instructor, was telling us, okay, mix the blue and the white. Now you're going to add this to your canvas, and then mix and I heard Shawn Michael talk about this. And I feel like many of us, and this is my own mistakes, I kept trying to figure out what can I add to be better at LegalShield. When really removing was just as important as adding. Removing was just as important as adding. And so getting feedback from your mentorship, from your mentors, is going to be critical for us. And being open to that feedback. Mr. Slickton gives me feedback. I'm like, I didn't think about it like that. Thank you, sir. And I'm appreciating it. He does it respectfully. But I appreciate the feedback because I want to be better. I want to be better as a leader. I want to be better as a LegalShield associate. How about you?
Yeah.
So we want that feedback, guys. So some of it's emotional intelligence. So we have to remove some things in the past that have stopped us from attracting people. And so we have to pay attention. For example, if someone's like, oh my gosh, I got to use the bathroom, and we're like, just got one question. No, they just say I have to use the bathroom. But we're thinking about us, not about them. You see? So we should allow someone to say, hey, listen, when someone says that, you should probably say, I'll catch you later. If someone's moving back while you're moving forward, that means you've entered a space that makes them uncomfortable. And there's some close talkers in LegalShield. And they don't know they're a close talker. I mean, they're here, like, kissable close. I'm like, bro, you are really close to me. Tracy doesn't even get that close to me. We're asleep at night. So some of us just got to remove some stuff. That's all. So I'm not going to go any further on that, but I just want you to know, be careful. I did a presentation in Atlanta, and the gentleman, Mr. Quincy, was my security that day, just standing by, because folks can be weird. And a guy was like, hey, this is a great job, and he said a word with an S. And you know when you say a word with an S, depending on whether you have a lisp tongue or not, you spit. And he spit, but he was a close talking anyway, so the spit didn't have far to travel. And it landed on my bottom lip. And it was the thick spit, because you can see it. I know you're thinking, what's that to do with mindset, sir? Get to it. I'm trying to help you. It landed on my bottom lip. And I couldn't talk. Because I figured if I talk, my bottom lip would touch my top lip, not both of them in the face. So I thought like that. Hey, doctor, how you doing, man? Would you let me know? Because I've been using things. It was good. He's like, you good? I said, some of them got to remove some stuff.
Oh, God.
So until we change our thinking, we'll always recycle our experiences. And we say things like, how did I end up here again? Man, I was bronze, I was silver, I got my 50K ring, I got my 100K ring. How did I end up check to check again? It's because our spending habits are the same. Because we took our foot off the gas too soon again. Because we thought we had the team in place and we didn't have to continue to build again. These are my own mistakes. I'm just speaking to the least in the room so that you don't have to go through what I went through. Listen, if there was a such thing as repossession of rings, LegalShield would have taken a couple of my rings back years ago. I never told my team, because you don't tell your team when you're going through certain things. You tell them once you come out of that thing so you can teach it. And it's empowering at that point. You tell your team while you're going through it, they're like, ooh, you hear about Mr. Self? He back there, he said $900, he back down to $700. Ooh, LegalShield ain't work. I knew that thing wasn't going to work. Now I'm at 1.5. I can tell you I went back to 700 from 900. I can tell you now, because we done doubled that bad boy. So, until you change your thinking, you always recycle your experiences. sometimes we just got to shift our thinking, guys. Our thinking has allowed us to earn the income we currently earn, and that's okay. The first thing we've got to do, guys, if you're ready for change, who's ready for change? The first thing you got to do, guys, if you want more, is you got to be honest with yourself. You got to start telling yourself the truth as of today. You don't have to say it out loud because it can be uncomfortable, but look in the mirror and say, look, I'm unhappy with this. I don't like this. And when that happens, things will start to change, guys. To create change, you got to interrupt the old pattern. You got to interrupt the old pattern. Here's what it looks like, just so you know when you leave out of here. I had to be honest with me. I knew some of the places I was going, and as often as I was going, wasn't going to allow me to get to 1.5. This was not. So my wife and I got together, we met, we talked about what we wanted, just to make sure we're on the same page. Otherwise, you know, your best friend, your significant other, they don't understand. So I had to be honest with myself. I had to say things like this. I actually don't like doing that anymore. That's honest. Because the old you used to like that, but that gave you your existing results. And you may say, you know what, I actually don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to do it with them. And I don't want to do it as long with them. This is, I know it can be tough. But I'm just saying, at some point though, it shifts. Here's what happens. Once you interrupt the old pattern, you now have a new pattern. And when you have the new pattern, LegalShield family, the people who are used to your old pattern notice. And it becomes easier. Here's what they say. We're going out to such and such tonight and just want to see if you want to go. But before they were like, hey man, meet us there at 7 o'clock, happy hour. They just expected you to be there. That was the whole you. Because you were there every week. But that was taken away from what you said you wanted, which was $1 million a year. So then they go from, you're going to go out to, you're probably not going to go out, aren't you? And you're probably not going, are you? Like, no. And then, they stop asking. They just assume Darnell ain't going. D&T, they ain't going. People don't even ask us to do what they used to ask us to do because we're not the people we were 2 years ago. And at some point, guys, like no one asked me during the Tuesday night briefing, can I pick them up from somewhere? They have ride share. I would pay for somebody to get the ride share as a family member before I picked them up and missed my Tuesday event. No one asked me if I'm going to miss my Tuesday event in Houston. Ever. Because they know I'm showing up. No one asked me, are you coming to the next Super Saturday? Because as a leader, I'm showing up. You guys get what I'm saying? No, this is not for everybody. This is just for the person that says, listen, I want to fast track this thing. I've been for 18 years, for 12 years, for 4 years, I've been stagnant. And I'm trying to burst out of the mud. And if that's you, the people who are around you most have got to see a new you. If not, they'll still treat you like the old you unless you set up different boundaries. Change is never a matter of ability, but a matter of motivation, guys. So this change I'm talking about, here's a good thing about what I'm sharing with you. This is good news. Is that you don't have to spend 3 weeks trying to gain the skill. All you have to do is be motivated to change. Like sit in the seat, you're like, you know what, I'm ready. And then the skills come. It's not ability, it's motivation. Listen, I waited to my late 30s to go after my black belt. And I had the motivation to do it. So it took me almost 5 years. But when you're getting your black belt at this particular school in Shaolin Wushu, Kung Fu, you had to fight against 2 to 3 other existing black belts. The goal was not to win, the goal was to be better. So if you're being jumped, can you position yourself so you can fight 3 people at one time? If you get tired and worried, will you still use technique? If it ends up going to the ground, will you then execute on the abilities of groundwork? But it was the motivation that had to keep me going. Now my son, I was blessed to be able to do this with my 10-year-old son at the time, Makai. And Makai, when he was fighting, his mouth started bleeding. And the master said, hey, look, go get him cleaned up. While we're in the bathroom, I said, son, do you want to continue to move forward? He's like, yes, Dad. I said, are you sure? You okay? You heard he had braces, so his braces had cut his top lip in the fight. So he said, yes, Dad, I want to continue. So I took him back out and continued on. He got his back up. We're walking to the car, and I said, Makai, if you don't mind Dad asking, why'd you keep going? It would have been okay. I would have completely understood if you didn't want to keep going. He's 10 years old at the time. He said, Dad, because today's your birthday, and I wanted to give you a gift of me getting your black belt for your birthday. He had motivation, guys. The motivation kept him going. So I'm saying to change, you just got to be ready for change. This is why, listen, guys, this is why it is so hard to lead a group of people who aren't ready for change. It is hard. Listen, my struggle came from continuing to try to pour out this heart of mine into those who hadn't decided to win yet. And that's when I started to understand it was about building and rebuilding. This is what we do. If you're a doctor, you're making rounds in the hospital. That's what you do. If you're a construction worker, you're going to be tired. That's just what you do, physical work. Here, you're going to build and rebuild. People want to quit. And you have to rebuild. I just want you to go ahead and wrap your mind around that because that's now who you are. But we get paid to build and rebuild. My solutions, folks, it's the same thing. Groups are going to cancel. Appointments are going to cancel. You're going to go in, they told you 15 minutes, now it's 2 minutes. They told you you were going first, now you're going last. It's the same thing. You show up with food, they're like, we forgot to schedule you. So don't quit, guys. You got to ask yourself, why would I keep going with all this stuff? Because it seems like, man, it's a lot I got to deal with. It is, but it's the person that you become that I'm not concerned about what's going to come your way because the person you're becoming will easily make it through it. But this is what I want you to ask. I had to ask myself this. I had to ask myself, what is it that will make me quit? I want you to write down what will make you quit. Because if anything else pops up, then you already said that would make me quit. It's the lack of family support. You know how many people told me that was a scam? You know how many people told me, man, people get locked up. Listen, guys, I'm not saying that you shouldn't acknowledge their objection, but let them be negative. Let them call it a scam, where you pay for all your kids and grandkids' tuition, and they get to start fresh with no student loans. Let them call it a scam while you're out doing what you want to do when you want to do it, for as long as you want to do it. Let them call it a scam when you're looking over the beautiful city of Houston from your penthouse. You let them call it a scam. Listen, all the folks who called it a scam, they're probably not in the same position that you're going to have an opportunity to be in. So don't worry about that, guys. When people say, look, I just don't have the family support. I know it's hard. I'm not saying it's not going to be hard. I'm just saying you have to decide whether it's going to make you quit or not. How about team quitting? I have 22 ring earners, 22 figure ring earners. This is before the 50K ring. $2,200,000 ring earners that quit. 22. I'm not saying that to brag, because it sounds like it, like, yeah, I got 22. What about you? I'm saying it because that wasn't on my list to make me quit. How about low retention? How about missed bonuses or trips? How about failure to qualify for senior director and above? How about family trauma? Warren Slickton was talking about his sister. Guys, listen, life happens. And you have to decide, do you keep pushing forward knowing that that loved one will want you to continue to move forward, or if it would make you quit? I don't know that. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to share with you that you have to make that decision. Listen, guys, I've heard this so many times this weekend, and that is we are in our winning season. I wouldn't invest a whole bunch of time trying to prove yourself or LegalShield. If you want to leave out of here and win big, you're going to have to do it even while other people are negating the fact that LegalShield is real. We know LegalShield is real. We have over 60 new ringers in 2024. So you don't have, listen, maybe you thought as a prospect, sorry, maybe you thought I was asking a position on whether you thought LegalShield would work or not. I'm just asking you whether you want to participate and get a piece of what's already proven to work. That's the posture. You don't have to say that, but that's the posture I want you to have. So the cheetah never uses speed to prove to a wild dog or hyena that it's faster. It only uses it to eat. It uses it to hunt. So all the time we're spending trying to convince ourselves that LegalShield is better, we're spending time away from the person we should be prospecting and saying, man, I've been praying, I've been looking, I've been waiting. I'm so excited to join you. So if you want to have the right mindset, guys, I don't know what you're going to have to do, but I can tell you what I did. What I did is I put myself around people who thought like I wanted to think and who were thinking the way I was thinking. I also made sure that I attended as many in-person events as I could. Back then, they didn't even have virtual. So I attended all the in-person events so that I can increase my environment. If I was around all Spanish-speaking people, Darnell Self would be speaking Spanish. If I put myself around those who think big, I start thinking big. If I put myself around those who invest, then I end up with a greater stock portfolio or digital currency or real estate. Put yourself around people who think like you want to think. And then the last thing is, for me, I always watch what goes into my earpiece. And so I used to listen to this song all the time. And that song blessed me. That song kept me going because sometimes life happens, but you got to still realize it's your winning season regardless of your circumstances. Let's play that song for me. posture. I became more confident because I heard this philosophy that said, act as if. Not fake it till you make it. That's a little different. Act as if. Act as if. You are already the millionaire club if you want to be. It calls me to talk to my prospects differently. It calls me to talk to my family different. It calls me to talk to my kids differently. Because I was acting as if I already had the time, flexibility, and freedom and income to do what I wanted to do. I had to act as if first. Mrs. Stonecipher would be so proud of us. I found it. He'd be so proud of us. He'd be so proud of you that you didn't quit. He'd be so proud of you that you're still here and that you didn't give up on the mission. Mr. Stonecipher was a hard-nosed business person. And this is not to talk negatively about Mr. Stonecipher, but he fired me as a corporate marketing team member. That's how hard-nosed he was. Like, Darnell, we won't be needing you in this position anymore. Like, I just got fired from an independent associate business. But I didn't quit. I didn't quit when Mr. Stonecipher knew that it was his time to hand it over. And then Rick Mason came along. And a lot of people left because Mr. Stonecipher wasn't here. But I didn't quit. They quit on me, and I didn't quit on you. It was bigger than me. I stayed strong. With everything like I wanted it to be, no, I didn't quit on LegalShield. And Rick Mason said, hey, look, we got to think bigger. So he created this whole PWC. That's when we started traveling the world. And that's when I realized that, hey, like, this dude has done some stuff I didn't even know existed. He said, oh, you live in D.C., that's where the Buddha bar is. Have you been to the one in Paris? It's actually subterranean. I said, what does that mean? It's like the restaurant is underground. We need to go sometime, Darnell, in my jet. And then Jeff Bell came along. Okay. And people quit. But I didn't quit on you, and I didn't quit on LegalShield. That wasn't on my list. It didn't say when CEO changed, I quit. It wasn't on my list. So God had something bigger for me. And quitting wasn't one of them. I believe, how do you retire from providing equal access to justice? How do you give up on that mission? So we're for paper applications, Jeff Bell bought technology and apps. Otherwise, I'd still be mailing stuff off. And then Warren Slifton came. And because this man possesses our founder DNA, without having to say I possess it. He talks about Mr. Stonecipher having it, but we know he has it without saying I have it too. You can discern. And now growth is happening like it's never happened or hasn't happened for a long time. And because of that, people coming back home. Because forgiveness is not a word, it's an action. Listen, some people quit because of stuff I did. Some people quit because of stuff they did. But now is the time for us to attract everybody in LegalShield, those who've been here and those who've not been here. Those who have been here, welcome them back home. You say, well, I don't trust them. Do you not trust them for who they used to be, or do you still know them today? You can't say that because what if someone didn't trust me based on a 32-year-old Darnell? I'm a 55-year-old man. I'm not the same person as I was at 32. What if people reminded me of my mistakes? So all I'm saying is, look, we got to give people a shot to be new, to change, to be different. We grow with people. We grow with folks who say, look, I've never given up on the mission. I may have given up a different life situation, maybe given up based on leadership, but I never gave up on the LegalShield mission. Welcome them back home. Welcome them back home. And lastly, guys, do not have a mindset of scarcity. Because if you feel like if that person doesn't belong to me, then I've missed out on abundance. And abundance doesn't know scarcity. When you live abundantly and you lead with love, hate can't come into the conversation. And if they do, you immediately excuse yourself from that conversation. I don't even respond back to hateful messages. Because no response is a response. Listen, LegalShield, all I'm saying is we're in a special place now. Don't stay anchored to who you used to be. People are like, well, that's just me. That's my personality, but it doesn't have to be. That's just the way I am, but it doesn't have to be the way you're going to be. It's a new time. It's a new season. I want it to be a new you. But you got to decide to be a new you. There's more money waiting for you. More opportunities waiting for you. More people for you to bless. And more praises to give to God for doing it all for us. Let's go win big, guys. Let's go win big. Remove the anger. Remove all the things that are holding you back. The self-sabotaging behavior. It's the time. But you got to decide it's the time. It's our winning season, and we're going to do it together.